In the heart of Rust Ridge, a small blue-collar town in the Midwest, a thunderous symphony of grinding metal, pneumatic drills, and roaring engines filled the air. This was the sound of the Iron Titan assembly plant, the pride of the town and one of the largest motorcycle factories in the country. Beneath its high steel beams, sparks flew as workers labored tirelessly to build machines that embodied freedom and raw power. But what made this factory unique wasn't its production output or the sleek motorcycles that rolled off the line. It was the women. Not just any women. These were titans themselves, bodybuilders, chiseled like marble sculptures who had traded gym competitions for torque wrenches and assembly lines. Leading the pack was Valerie Monroe, a 6-foot-tall powerhouse with shoulders broad enough to carry the weight of the world, or at least an entire motorcycle frame. Valerie's story, like those of the other women at Iron Titan, was one of grit and defiance. A former bodybuilding champion, she had grown disillusioned with the politics of the sport. The endless dieting, the pageantry, the dismissive comments from judges who prioritized aesthetics over strength. When the factory's owner, Miles Carter, had offered her a job as a line supervisor, she jumped at the chance. "I need people who know discipline, focus, and strength," Miles had said. "You're exactly what we need." That was 3 years ago. Since then, Valerie had not only thrived, but had also brought in others from her world. Each of these women had their own story. Jada Herc Martinez, a former firefighter whose biceps looked like they could bend steel bars. Lena Valkyrie Petrov, a Russian immigrant and powerlifting champion with a wicked sense of humor. And Tasha Phoenix Harper, who had turned to bodybuilding after surviving a devastating car accident that left her with a titanium rod in her leg. Together, they had transformed the factory floor. The once mundane work of assembling motorcycles had become a demonstration of strength and precision. It wasn't uncommon to see Jada lifting an entire motorcycle engine onto a workbench, or Lena carrying 2 wheels, one in each hand, as if they were grocery bags. Their camaraderie was infectious, and their presence had sparked a newfound respect among their male colleagues. But not everyone was a fan. "They're show-offs," grumbled Rick Barnes, a veteran mechanic with a chip on his shoulder. "This ain't no circus, it's a factory." Rick wasn't alone in his disdain. A small but vocal group of workers resented the women's dominance and the way they seemed to attract all the attention. Tension simmered, but Valerie and her crew stayed focused. They had bigger things to worry about. One sweltering summer morning, Valerie was called into Miles's office. The normally unflappable owner looked worried. "We've got a problem," he said, sliding a folder across his desk. Inside were blueprints for a new motorcycle model, the Titan X. Sleek, powerful, and designed to revolutionize the industry, it was meant to debut at the National Motorcycle Expo in just 2 months. But production was behind schedule, and a critical shipment of parts had been delayed. "If we don't meet the deadline, we're sunk," Miles said. "I need you and your team to pull off a miracle." Valerie didn't flinch. "We'll make it happen," she said. The next 8 weeks were a blur of sweat, determination, and relentless effort. The women of Iron Titan pushed themselves to the limit, working double shifts and finding creative solutions to keep production moving. Valerie's leadership was nothing short of legendary. She wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty, whether it meant troubleshooting a faulty assembly line or helping Tasha weld a frame into place. But the strain began to take its toll. One evening, as the factory's massive clock struck midnight, Jada slumped against a stack of crates, her face etched with exhaustion. "We're not machines, Val," she said. "We can't keep this up." Valerie knelt beside her. "I know it's tough," she said, "but we're doing this for more than just a paycheck. We're proving that we belong here, that we're just as strong as anyone else." Jada nodded, her resolve hardening. "Let's finish this." Finally, the day of the expo arrived. The Titan X stood gleaming under the spotlight, a masterpiece of engineering and artistry. Reporters and industry insiders flocked to see it, marveling at its design and power. Miles beamed with pride as he delivered a speech, crediting his team for their extraordinary effort. But it was Valerie and her crew who stole the show. As they stepped onto the stage to a standing ovation, their muscles still aching from weeks of grueling work, they felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. "We did it," Lena whispered, a rare tear sliding down her cheek. Back in Rust Ridge, life returned to normal. The factory hummed along, and the women of Iron Titan resumed their routines. But their triumph had left an indelible mark. Rick Barnes, once their harshest critic, approached Valerie one afternoon. "You proved me wrong," he admitted, extending a grease-stained hand. "Respect." Valerie shook his hand, a small smile playing on her lips. "Took you long enough," she said. As the sun set over the factory, the women gathered in the parking lot, their laughter echoing across the asphalt. They had faced challenges that would have broken most people, but they had come out stronger. They weren't just bodybuilders or factory workers, they were trailblazers, carving out a place for themselves in a world that had underestimated them. And as they watched the horizon, where the open road beckoned like an unwritten story, they knew this was only the beginning.